Welcome to Story Matrix, another day, another story. Hey guys! Today we shake things up in the Matrix. We are featuring 6 real stories shared by people on the internet, which cannot be explained by science or logic, that will surely creep you out and keep you up at night. Warning, this is not for the faint-hearted. Number 6. When my boyfriend was about 4 years old, he would talk to a man he saw in the mirror. Naturally, his parents were curious about his behavior and asked him questions about the man. He told his parents details about the man, including his appearance, hobbies and how he died. It turns out that one of the former owners of the house was a man who had committed suicide in the house, and he matched the descriptions of the man my boyfriend saw in the mirror. When his parents found out, it scared them so much so they moved out the next day. Number 5. This past year, I went to bed on a normal night, and in mid-dream, everything stops and a voice says, "The fire alarm is about to go off." I wake up about 5 minutes later when the fire alarm starts in our building. I asked my roommates the next day if anyone said that, and I just happened to hear it, but they said the alarm went off around 4 AM and they were all sleeping prior to it going off. Plus, none of us knew they were testing the alarm beforehand. It still scares me to this day. Number 4. My grandma lives in a very stereotypical horror movie house, small Midwest town, white and old looking home, on a farm. She even has a chipped wooden Mary Nativity in the front yard. She also has a cemetery about a half-mile down the road. I used to sleep in the room in the corner on the top floor, my aunt's room, and it had a wooden rocking chair in it. When I was younger, I would wake up because I thought I heard it rocking, to the point where I would wake up my grandma and have to stay in her room. About 10 years later, my mom, aunt and I were talking about how creepy my grandma's house was. My aunt goes on to talk about how when she was younger, the reason my mom and her ended up sharing a room was because she thought her room was haunted. She said she woke up one morning and the rocking chair was about 2 feet closer to her bed, and after that night, it would start rocking on a nightly basis at midnight. Number 3. During the summer, 5 friends and I went to a cottage for a birthday, and we had found the cottage last minute and for quite cheap as well, so we were happy. It was small, but cozy and right beside a lake. But by the second day we were there, things began to get weird. We heard footsteps throughout the cottage, the broom disappeared from the kitchen to end up in a remote area of the basement, and we all had the eeriest feeling of a male presence. One of us ended up looking up the location to find out 2 men had drowned in the very lake we were at earlier on in the year. Unfazed, that night, all 6 of us went outside to light a fire and roast marshmallows. When we went back in, there were 6 water bottles in a line beside the sink, upside down. We started freaking out, because there were 6 of us, 6 water bottles, and we had left the kitchen clean when we had left to build the fire. We all slept together in the living room that night and left the very next day. After that, we found out that the men had died because their canoe had flipped upside down and they had drowned. To this day, I can't explain how those water bottles ended up that way. Number 2. Until a few years ago, I still had a flip phone. One day, I got a random call asking for some girl named Sarah. I told them they had the wrong number and they hung up. For the next few months, I would get these calls asking for Sarah about once or twice a week, coming from different numbers and different sounding people. Sometimes, these calls came at 3 in the morning. One day, I got a call and, like usual, I said I didn't know Sarah. After they hung up, I went to my contacts and hit redial. The answering machine said that number did not exist. I went back through my call history trying to call some other people that had called me with the same result, a machine telling me the number did not exist. Every time I would get these calls, I would redial the number and still got the machine. I googled the numbers, but all I learned was that they were coming from North Dakota, Montana, basically everywhere in the Midwest. The next time I got a call asking for Sarah, I said, "Oh yeah, she is right here," and the other person on the other end said no, she isn't, and hung up. Things started getting weird when I started getting calls from unknown numbers calling me. Whoever or whatever on the other end hung up the second I said hello. Once I got a call where they didn't hang up after I said hello, and I could hear someone was on the other end just listening, but they didn't say anything, just something really uneasy about it. Before I reveal the top and most creepiest and scariest story, please comment down below and share your personal scariest or creepy experience with us as well. Number 1. In September 2014, a Utah boy discovered his parents and 3 brothers deceased after arriving home. The Salt Lake Tribune reported finding a to-do list in the house, which included tasks like feed the pets, and find someone to watch the house written on it. The found list gave the impression that the parents were preparing to go on vacation. However, there was no suicide note, no warning that they would do this, and no explanation. After autopsies, it was revealed that the 5 family members consumed a lethal concoction of drugs that September day. However, why and how the parents and kids consumed the drugs remained a mystery. Sometime later, police revealed more terrifying information about the case. According to family members' statements, the parents' motivations included believing that the world's end was near and frequently spoke of leaving this world. Apparently, scared of the apocalypse, the parents poisoned the kids and themselves. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe for more.